Arya Khan was a young NASA intern who never expected anything exciting to happen during her quiet summer job. But everything changed the day she went to the basement archive to look for old mission files. In the far corner, she found a dusty cabinet labeled Special Access Only. And even though she knew she should not open it, her curiosity won. Inside were 3 black folders with no labels, each looking older and more secret than anything she had ever seen. When she opened the first folder, she found strange photos from Apollo 17 showing a dark tower-like structure on the moon that she had never seen in any public records. And the reports inside mentioned words like non-human origin and unexplained signal, which made her hands shake. The second folder contained a USB drive with a warning not to upload it to any NASA network, so she secretly took it with her. Later in her office, she plugged the drive into her computer and listened to audio logs from astronauts who talked about a strange sound inside their helmets, like a soft melody coming from the tower. When she played the video file, she saw the moon's surface and the tall dark structure. But the moment the astronaut touched it, the screen flashed white and her computer suddenly shut down, as if someone else was watching. A loud knock came on her door, and her supervisor stood with a man in a black suit, acting strangely serious. Arya pretended nothing was wrong, but she knew they suspected something. That night, she watched the video again on her personal laptop, and this time, she noticed something terrifying in the astronaut's helmet reflection. A tall, thin, almost invisible figure standing near the tower, as if watching. When she realized the sound from the tower formed a repeating pattern, possibly a message, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You should not have opened those files." At that moment, Arya understood one thing clearly. Someone knew she had seen the secrets, and whatever she had discovered was far bigger and more dangerous than she had ever imagined. Arya Khan was a young NASA intern who never expected anything exciting to happen during her quiet summer job. But everything changed the day she went to the basement archive to look for old mission files. In the far corner, she found a dusty cabinet labeled Special Access Only. And even though she knew she should not open it, her curiosity won. Inside were 3 black folders with no labels, each looking older and more secret than anything she had ever seen. When she opened the first folder, she found strange photos from Apollo 17 showing a dark tower-like structure on the moon that she had never seen in any public records. And the reports inside mentioned words like non-human origin and unexplained signal, which made her hands shake. The second folder contained a USB drive with a warning not to upload it to any NASA network, so she secretly took it with her. Later, in her office, she plugged the drive into her computer and listened to audio logs from astronauts who talked about a strange sound inside their helmets, like a soft melody coming from the tower. When she played the video file, she saw the moon's surface and the tall dark structure. But the moment the astronaut touched it, the screen flashed white and her computer suddenly shut down as if someone else was watching. A loud knock came on her door, and her supervisor stood with a man in a black suit, acting strangely serious. Arya pretended nothing was wrong, but she knew they suspected something. That night, she watched the video again on her personal laptop, and this time, she noticed something terrifying in the astronaut's helmet reflection. A tall, thin, almost invisible figure standing near the tower, as if watching. When she realized the sound from the tower formed a repeating pattern, possibly a message, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You should not have opened those files." At that moment, Arya understood one thing clearly. Someone knew she had seen the secrets, and whatever she had discovered was far bigger and more dangerous than she had ever imagined. Working inside the secret NASA lab changed Arya's life completely, because now she could see the truth that had been hidden from the world for decades. And every day she discovered something new about the moon tower and its repeating message. High-resolution images from a secret lunar orbiter showed the tower in impossible detail. It was smooth, dark, and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, almost as if it was alive, and the strange symbols carved into its surface glowed faintly when the signal became stronger. Arya and Leo spent long nights trying to decode the deeper layers of the melody, and soon they found more hidden words like "we heard you" and "do you hear us," which made them believe the signal was not just a warning but an attempt to start communication. As if the builders of the tower had been waiting for humans to return to the moon. Cole and Dr. Grant told Arya that the original Apollo astronauts who heard the sound began experiencing dreams of long corridors and distant lights, and one astronaut claimed he could feel a presence watching him from behind the tower, though he never saw anything clearly, which made Arya think of the thin, tall figure she had seen in the reflection. One evening, while analyzing a fresh signal recording, Arya noticed something strange. There was a new pattern that hadn't appeared before. A sharper, faster tone that repeated like a countdown or a call for attention. When she showed it to Leo, he looked pale and said it almost felt like the signal was reacting to something, maybe even to the fact that humans had started listening again after so many years. That night, the secure lab received an emergency alert from NASA's lunar orbiter. The dark tower had changed slightly, its top section opening like petals of a flower, and a thin beam of light had been detected pointing directly toward Earth for the first time in history. Everyone in the lab froze, wondering if the tower had finally noticed that someone was decoding its message. Arya felt fear and excitement mix inside her, but she also felt a strange calm, like the melody was guiding her. Hours later, the new data came in, and the beam was no threat to it, was simply sending a stronger, clearer version of the same message. Do you hear us now? The room fell silent. For the first time, humanity had received a direct, unmistakable question from something not of Earth. Dr. Grant whispered that this was the moment Project Eclipse had been preparing for all these years. The moment when the unknown finally reached back. Arya stepped closer to the speakers, listening to the haunting melody that now felt almost like a voice calling her name. And she realized the world would have to face this truth one day, but for now, she and Leo were standing at the edge of a discovery bigger than anything NASA had ever imagined. As the tower's signal echoed softly through the lab, Arya understood something important. The universe had been watching humanity for a long time, not with anger but with patience, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. Now that she had heard the call, she knew her life and the future of Earth's place in the cosmos would never be the same again. As days passed after the tower's mysterious beam pointed toward Earth, Arya noticed something unusual in the new recordings. The signal was no longer steady but pulsing like a heartbeat, rising and falling as if waiting for a reply, and the more she studied it, the more she felt the melody was becoming clearer, almost shaping itself into patterns that a human mind could understand. Leo, who had been working non-stop, discovered that the pulses matched the timing of Earth's rotation, as if the tower was tracking specific regions of the planet one by one, scanning cities, oceans, and deserts like an invisible spotlight. NASA grew more tense, and Cole began holding late-night meetings with people Arya did not recognize, scientists with tired faces, military officers in plain clothes, and government agents who whispered about response protocols and extraterrestrial engagement risks. But Arya believed the signal was not dangerous. She felt it every time she listened to the music, which carried a strange comfort, like a calm voice trying to say, "We are not enemies." One night, when Arya was alone in the secure lab, the signal suddenly shifted into a completely new tone, soft, slow, almost like a human humming. Then, for the first time ever, the waveform on the screen formed a repeating shape that looked like a symbol from the tower's surface. And Arya realized the signal was no longer just repeating old patterns. It was creating something new in real time, reacting to Earth's listening equipment. At that moment, Leo rushed in with news. Multiple observatories around the world had detected similar pulses, meaning the tower was now broadcasting globally, not just toward NASA. Soon after, international space agencies began contacting NASA behind the scenes, demanding to know what was happening. But Cole and Dr. Grant refused to reveal the truth until they understood it better. Meanwhile, Arya kept noticing something strange. She started having dreams of standing on the moon beside the dark tower, feeling the cold dust under her feet while the tall, shimmering figure watched her silently from a distance. The dreams felt too real, like memories she never lived, and she began to wonder whether the signal could reach the human brain directly or if something was trying to show her its world. One evening, as she sat staring at the new symbol on the screen, the lab lights flickered, and the speakers emitted a sharper, clearer sound, almost like a voice forming words. Arya froze. The waveform shifted rapidly, the tones lined up, and then, faintly, she heard a whispered phrase inside the signal, "We come soon." The entire room fell silent as the message repeated again, clearer each time, like a countdown toward something that had already begun. When Leo entered the lab moments later, Arya looked at him with wide eyes and whispered the words she could barely believe. The tower is not just watching anymore, it's coming. And in that moment, deep in her heart, she understood that whatever had been waiting on the moon was no longer content with silence. Something ancient had awakened, and the first true contact between humanity and the unknown was closer than anyone on Earth was prepared for. The moment Arya heard the words, "We come soon," everything inside NASA changed, as if the entire building could feel the weight of the message. And soon the secure lab filled with worried scientists and officials demanding to know what the signal meant. But no one had answers except Arya, who felt deep inside that the moon tower was preparing for something far bigger than a simple broadcast. Leo began running new code to break the updated signal, and within hours he discovered that the pulses were forming not just a message but coordinate-specific points on Earth where the signal strength was highest. Mostly remote areas with little population, as if whatever was coming did not want to cause harm. Cole called a private emergency meeting, and Arya was allowed to sit in. The room was full of tension, as experts argued whether the message was a warning, a greeting, or something completely different. Dr. Grant pointed out that the tower had existed for who knows how many centuries without harming anyone, and that its broadcasts had never shown any aggression. But a few military advisors insisted that "we come soon" could mean an approaching threat. Arya stayed silent until she felt everyone's fear turning into chaos. Then she finally spoke, telling them about her dreams, the moon dust, the silence, and the tall, shimmering figure watching her, but never attacking or causing fear. At first the room thought she was imagining things, but Leo supported her, showing data that proved the signal had harmless neurological effects, similar to deep meditation, calming the brain instead of agitating it. After hours of debate, NASA made a bold decision. They would send a reply, Using powerful antenna arrays, they constructed a simple message built with the same tone patterns found in the original signal. And Arya was chosen to create the sequence because she understood the rhythm better than anyone. Her message was simple: "We hear you. Who are you?" When the signal was transmitted toward the moon, the entire lab waited in silence. Watching the monitors as time passed like slow-moving sand, minutes felt like hours. And then, suddenly, the lunar tower responded not with words at first, but with a deep harmonic wave so strong that every speaker in the lab vibrated. And then another symbol appeared on the screen, one Arya had seen many times in her dreams, a curved shape like an eye, glowing softly. The tones shifted, and for the first time, the tower answered with a new phrase: "We are the first." The room went cold. No one spoke. Arya understood the meaning before anyone else. This was not just an alien signal, but a message from beings who might have existed long before humans ever walked on Earth. Beings who built a structure on the moon as a watchtower, waiting for the moment humanity grew, advanced enough to reply. As the message repeated again, stronger each time, Arya felt the strange calm wash over her again, and she whispered quietly to Leo, "They've been waiting for us." And for the first time in history, humanity was no longer alone. They had sent a message into the dark, and something ancient, patient, and intelligent had finally replied. After receiving the message, "We are the first," NASA fell into complete silence, as if the entire building could feel the weight of the truth pressing down like gravity, and everyone understood that the next moments would decide the future of all humanity. Arya stood in the secure lab, staring at the glowing symbol on the screen, the curved eye shape she had seen in her dreams, and she felt a connection forming, not through fear but through a deep sense of recognition. Like something ancient had been waiting specifically for her to understand it. Leo discovered that the new pulses coming from the moon matched the timing of a perfect alignment between Earth and the lunar tower, a rare event happening only once in many decades, and he realized that whatever was coming would happen during that alignment. NASA prepared every antenna, every observatory, and every deep space listener on the planet, but no one could predict what arrival meant. As the alignment approached, the tower's signal grew so strong that global radio systems picked it up, governments around the world panicked, and thousands of people reported hearing strange melodic hums in their sleep, proving the tower was reaching the human mind more directly than ever. Arya felt the melody too calm, slow, like a peaceful heartbeat, guiding her thoughts, until finally the moment arrived when Earth, the moon, and the tower lined up perfectly. The signal spiked, the waveform twisted into new shapes, and then every monitor in the lab went black. The lights flickered. For a breathless moment, the world felt completely silent. Then the screens turned on again, not with symbols, but with a live image. The dark lunar tower glowing brightly from the inside, its entire structure unfolding like a giant metallic flower, and from its center a beam of pure white light shot upward into space, spreading like a ribbon across the darkness. The beam did not aim at Earth. Instead, it pointed far beyond, as if calling to something in the deep. The message changed again, repeating in a clear tone that everyone could hear, even without speakers: "We are not alone. We are many." Suddenly, sensors picked up objects moving in the far distance slowly, steadily like shadows forming in space, answering the tower's long silent call after centuries of waiting. Leo stared in disbelief. Scientists cried, military officers froze, and Arya, with tears in her eyes, understood the truth. The tower was not a threat. It was a beacon, a lighthouse built by an ancient civilization to guide others. And now that humanity had finally replied, the galaxy was waking up. The last message came through in a soft, peaceful tone, almost like a whisper inside the human heart: "Welcome." And as the first distant lights appeared in the night sky, moving, alive, intelligent, Arya realized that this was not the end of the story but the beginning of a new chapter for Earth. A chapter where humanity was no longer silent, no longer alone, and no longer unseen. The universe had opened its door, and the future of humankind had changed forever.